Q1 is officially over. Happy Q2 to all who celebrate. Here is a summary of emails I have received so far this week. Starting off, this is related to a forecast adjustment I made. Hey Reagan, your EBITDA forecast is off compared to plan. Can you go fix it? Okay, I went and looked at it. It was off by $12. Not 12,000, not 12 million, $12. But you know what? That is on me. I got it fixed. From one of the business leaders, sorry for the short notice. I have a conflict next week and need to move our forecast review meeting up to today. Thanks. In fact, they moved it up to like 10 minutes after this email was sent. I was very unprepared, as you can imagine, but you know what? At least now we don't have to meet next week. So, okay, from operations. We just looked at Q1 results so far and we need to increase revenue. Can you talk to your business leaders about how much more they can put into Q1? Okay. I received this email at 2:16 p.m. on March 31st. So there were about 3 hours left in the quarter. To be honest, I just ignored that email. Okay, honorable mention here. I usually end my emails with, let me know if you have any questions. And I do that so that I seem friendly, knowledgeable, accessible, etc. But I think there's a disconnect happening because when I say that, I'm not actually open to questions if you have any. But people keep asking me questions lately. So I think I'm gonna stop putting that in my emails and we'll see what happens. Wish me luck. Hello everyone. As you know by now, I work in corporate finance. So here is a summary of emails I have received so far this week. Starting off, this is from the controller, so I guess accounting. Hello. We have a variance between our accrual and what the comp team is booking as actuals. Can you look into that for us? Okay. This is crazy because I didn't book the accrual. I don't know why they accrued what they accrued, but sure, I'll look into it. Okay, next, from operations. Hey Reagan, we need some random data ASAP. Can you get that over to us real quick? Okay, this request alone, no problem. Part of my job description. However, they sent that to me today at 4:47 p.m. and then proceeded to log off. I don't know. I think that's rude. I did get it over to them. Okay, next from one of our department leaders. Reagan, why did you change our revenue plan? There's no way this is what we agreed on. This is outrageous. That's a summary. There was a lot more to this email that I am not reading at this time. And you know, I'm not really sure why this person thought I would change their revenue plan, I guess just for fun. Luckily, I had the receipts. In fact, I did not change their revenue plan. That's all for now. The week is young. Wish me luck. I just got a meeting invite for 10 minutes from now. Someone wants to see their forecast, which I have not made. So let's scramble and see if we can put together this forecast. So my general philosophy for this is we have 2 months of actuals right now. So I'm gonna make sure the full year ties back to what we planned. Just because I feel like we're too early in the year to be able to tell if things are going to actually come in under budget or over budget or where revenue is actually gonna land. So obviously I can't show you the numbers, so I just have them all whited out, but we have 2025 actuals, 2026 plan. Here's our current forecast, and then these are just some comparison columns over here. And you can see we're looking at the whole income statement. So we can expand this to see all the accounts if we want to. And then down here, we look at different headcount and financial metrics. Okay, now that that is sorted, it's time for the meeting. Hi, how are you? Right, so I have that pulled up over here. So if we just start at the top, here's your February revenue. For the full year, I just did a pro rata spread to tie it back to AOP. I'm gonna keep it at that unless you have something different. Our annual plan is actually locked. We're not making any more changes to it. We did this based off of our 11+1 forecast before we had December actuals. So that could be caused by a bunch of different things. We don't forecast that at the deal level. We forecast it at the practice level. Again, we don't forecast it at the client level because that's just, like, it just wouldn't be practical. And we've never had a large enough variance to justify. So we're just going to stick with this. So we go through this every month. We planned for the expense. So it's not actually affecting you, but you're getting bonus based on EBITDA. So this would be anything related to like client, meals, entertainment. So I would expect these numbers down here to change. I think accounting is still, we're expecting to see a big true up for those or for March actuals next month. Okay, great. I'll send you those follow-up items and yeah, we can go from there. To be honest, that call was a little bit rocky at times, but we got through it. So that's what matters. My husband just landed his first finance job doing FP&A and M&A, and he does not have a finance degree. So here's exactly how he did it. So number one, here are his qualifications. He does have a bachelor's degree, but it's not in accounting or finance. So he's never really been able to break into those finance jobs, but he has been working in pricing for the past few years, which is kind of finance adjacent, and maybe a little bit easier to break into. So that's given him some good experience. Number two, he never applied to a single job on like LinkedIn or Indeed or anything like that. He has purely gone through recruiters, and over the past few months, he's probably used like 12 different recruiters. They're literally incentivized to get you hired. So this is probably like the best and easiest thing you can do. Number three, he asked everyone for feedback on his resume and interviews. I mean, everyone. So recruiters, hiring managers, CFOs, friends who work in finance. He spent hours on the phone talking to his mentor, literally anyone and everyone who would take a look. That brings me to number four, which is that he sought out a mentor who has a successful finance career, and he just soaked up all of the knowledge and advice he could. It's literally just a friend who goes to our church. But people, especially the older generation, love to give advice, and they always give insight that you wouldn't have thought of. They also make for a great reference when you need one. Number five, he spent a lot of time looking at job descriptions to figure out what skills he needed, and then he went and learned those skills. So it could be anything from just stronger accounting knowledge to different softwares, literally anything that just popped up over and over again on different job descriptions. And then once he learned it, he put it on his resume. Last but not least, he did have me to help guide him through the process because I've been working in finance for about 5 years now. So if you are also looking to break into finance, I have a few resources that are dropping pretty soon. So be sure to follow me if you want to hear about them when they're out. If you're building something on the side outside the 9 to 5 like me, you know it's stressful and pretty chaotic. There's definitely fun parts to it, right? But to handle the chaos, I have to be extremely organized. So that's why I started using Square. I started using Square to handle all of my payments and all of the back office things that just kind of come up, you know? It helps with organizing my revenue, transactions, payments, and Square AI even gives me data insights that I can use to optimize my business. I also really appreciate the transparent pricing without any hidden fees or long-term contracts. I've never gotten a surprise charge from Square, and personally, I really appreciate that. Basically, these two things have really freed up my time to focus on growing my business and doing the things I actually enjoy. So if you're interested in Square, you can use my link and save up to $200.